Perfect. Okay. Well, let's do this bathroom shot. Um, Actually, let's see which one should we do. Let's try this one first. This is a little bit more normal. So here's my ambient shot. So we're gonna work on this bathroom shot. I got 4 layers. I have one ambient. I have a flash layer here with a fat hot spot right above where the camera was at because I was pretty much right above the camera, I think, doing like what I showed you guys earlier. Then I have one over here with a hot spot coming from this side to fight what I did over here. And then I have one kind of lighting up this the bedroom. That's that master bedroom. So this is a master bathroom. So I like that back room up to kind of like what I was saying earlier, bring balance to the scene and kind of carry the luminosity throughout the entire photo. So I'm going to show you how kind of bring all those things together with multiple flash layers. So same thing here. I'm also going to start using actions on here so you can kind of see how fast the Photoshop portion of this stuff can go once you have it down. That looks good. Flash layer. The exposure looks pretty decent there. These towels are very white, so I'm going to do that. Same thing here. Flash layer interior. The towels, pretty close. And then this one, kind of just gonna leave this alone. I don't. If I hit the flash layer interior on this, it might do. Well, it didn't do it here. But sometimes when it brings these highlights down, if it's only highlighted like kind of back where you're flashing, it's gonna really kill the highlights that you're trying to bring in. So sometimes when there's just only a back room lit, leaving it alone works, you know, just because you're going to hit lighten mode on that later. But one thing I do see in here that I want to try to get rid of is this like kind of, oh, not luminosity, let's go saturation. I want to get rid of this like greenish kind of yellowish tone in here. So what I did is I hit saturation, then I hit my little eyedropper control tool thingy, and I just drag it on the area that I want to affect, and I drag it down. So I think right here looks pretty good. So it looks like we killed the yellows by 83 points. A little bit of green and a little bit of orange in there too, but that's not going to affect anything later. And that's what we're going for. So blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Open as layers on Photoshop. As we add layers, the opening is probably going to take a little bit longer, so just bear with me. Get your little drinks or whatever.
Gary, do you use a color calibration tool for your monitors? We had someone ask it what your brightness was set on your Mac.
I don't. I had one, but I got the it was the Color Right monkey display thing or something like that, and I had it for years, and it just started working weird. And now when I plug it in, it doesn't even work. So it was kind of a waste of money. And the software, I noticed this is when I would start a calibration, my screen would like go to the default settings again. It would set it up to be a default, and then it would run the calibration. And then by the end of it, when it's showing you the difference between the two screens, I was looking at the default setting screen and not the calibrated screen, but it wasn't showing me like the old calibration versus the new calibration, and I could not tell a difference, bro. So I just left it in the calibrated settings, and it's never really changed, and I haven't had any complaints. I just kind of let it do its thing.
Yeah, I use this, the Data Color Spider 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't had an issue, but I was just telling, it was an anonymous question. I think the big thing is you have to realize is that the people who are viewing it, they have no idea what their brightness levels are, and it's going to be all over the place. So one thing I try to do is I just try to base my brightness based on the histogram. because that way
That's
I
what,
know it's
that's
consistent.
exactly what I do. Yep. And then another thing too is most people are going to be looking at this stuff on their phones,
Yeah.
um, at probably full brightness, or I mean, on my phone now it like auto adjusts. So, but I just usually what I do after I'm done working on a set is I'll like airdrop it to myself or whatever, and I just look through some of the choice ones. I'll put my phone up to full brightness and just make sure if it looks good on the phone, I'm cool with it. I haven't had too many problems. Now, if you're a commercial photographer and you're working on, um, a product from, Sony, and their colors are, very particular, that's when I really feel like the calibrations and, doing some, really specific color controls and stuff like that is really going to matter. But with real estate, um, it's kind of like hit or miss, depending. If it's something you want to do, I'm not going to say don't do it, but is it 100% necessary? It could be argued. I don't know. Um, yeah, it's kind of. I wouldn't say it's a waste of money, but the one I got was a waste of money, and I think that it's fine the way it is
I
to
think if
me.
you do a
So
lot of portrait work, it's definitely helpful if you're going to do printing. Like I do a lot of printing for my weddings and portraits. So
yeah,
I think if you're going to do that, it's definitely worth the money. But if it's just going to be you're just doing real estate, I don't think it's worth getting.
yeah. I'm sure there's more stuff you can spend your money on that would kind of do serve you better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So anyhow, okay. So let's get going on this. I'm gonna start using some actions because we're dealing with multiple flash frames now, and some of which I don't want to be working on first. And you'll kind of see what I mean by that. So here's my actions. These are all going to be available on the website, but I need to make a video about how to use some of the yellow ones. These purple ones are not my actions. I use them. Um, the purple one, the luminance masks, is from the what's that guy's name? Um, the Raya Pro guy. Um,
Oh, McIntyre.
Jimmy
Maybe
McIntyre.
McIntyre.
Yeah. So if you want the lumen, these are like luminance mask or luminosity masking, that he does the real deal stuff, and it's really great. So I use that sometimes. And then the frequency separation action came from Flern, which is really great for doing some more like
That's a free.
involved. Yeah, it's free too. But like it's good for cloning certain things out. Like if you need to create patterns, like if I was going to do something on a wall or bed sheets, fixing bed sheets, sometimes it's really good for that. It has some really specific uses, and I just have it in my panel so I can access it sometimes, but I don't use them all the time, and I don't sell them in my actions pack. So you can get those for free, I think.
I'm gonna put
But
this Florin one. I'm gonna put that link in the
oh,
comments.
tight.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse my layers and get those all situated. Now I'm going to turn off this one because I'm not going to use it yet. And first step to all this is here with my ambience on the bottom. Flash layers are up here. So I'm going to just kind of mix these two down first. So it's kind of the same thing that we did before. I have an action though, gray mask, brush. I'm brushing in this portion and I'm brushing out this portion. But other than that, and this part right here, don't want that. Actually, you can kind of see some of that flash work on the ceiling there. So let's brush out some of that stuff too. Otherwise, I think, oh, and then I'm in the mirror. There we go. Okay, so that's those two flash layers. And now this one back here for the master bedroom, just going to put that to, I usually use either lighten or screen mode, just kind of depending. This one, I think the screen is going to do a little better, but I'm going to have to dial it back. So we're going to add a black mask onto that. And then I'm just going to lightly brush in on maybe 20% that screen mode and just kind of lighten up that back area. I don't want to use too much of it, but there we go. Maybe I'll even dial that back a tiny bit with opacity. There we go. So now I'm going to select all my flash layers and I'm going to use my action merge down. And that was basically just this one right here, merge down. I just made it a button so I could hit it and go. And then now I have my flash layer all blended on top with my ambient layer underneath, and I'm going to mix those two together real quick. You saw how I was doing it, but now I'm going to show you my action for it. I just hit that and it creates it. So here's my flash layer. Here's my windows and brights layer. Here's that color correction layer I was talking about. And here's the luminance layer that we've been using, right? So what I'm going to do is just jump on here to my windows and brights. I need to go to 100% flow and just brush in, the control areas. This back here could use a little bit. Just kind of get that under control over there so it's not too crazy. I don't know if anybody would ever notice it, but who knows. And then that's about all I see there. I also noticed that mirrors have a little bit of a bluish greenish tinge. I'm not going to do anything to fix that. I'm just going to leave it alone. And other than that, I mean, this photo I would say is pretty much done. I don't see any flash shadows that are really bugging me. There might be some visible under here, so I'm just gonna give it a shot, see if I can clean up anything that might be there. I'm assuming there might be some stuff kind of going on under here, so let's see if that works. I wouldn't mind brightening that up a tiny bit, so we did that. I'm not seeing anything else that I think, oh, well, here, let's try this. So what I kind of want to do is control these cabinets a little bit more. So I'm going to take my darken layer, remember windows and brights, and it's set to darken mode. So it'll darken anything, if you want to darken cabinets, that's how you can do that. Now, if you want to lighten cabinets up a little bit, I have an action here called DNB, which stands for dodge and burn. What that does is it creates a new layer in overlay mode with a 50% gray fill. And now all you have to do is go to 10% flow on your brush, black or white, depending on what you want to do. I want to lighten up these cabinets a tiny bit. So I'm just going to set it to white. I'm going to just go over it a little bit like that, kind of dodging. And that's it. Maybe I'll hit these drawers right here a little bit just to kind of lighten them up. So it didn't do that much, but it's little things that kind of make or break, or not break, but make your photo a little better, So there we go. You can kind of see what that did. Just those cabinets. So all done. Flatten it, save it, bring it over here. And same thing I always do, interior finishing. Now, the transform is set to vertical in this preset. So when you hit this preset, it's automatically going to try to align your image. And if it sees something funky, it might try to, you can see like this is not vertical. I think it was better just off. So if you ever need to go tick it off, you can tick it off. But this one looks like it needs a little bit of help on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to guided, and I'm going to drag from this line all the way down to this line. Let that get squared up, and then maybe I'll follow these cabinets as a straight line for the next vertical. So you need to get these two vertical lines situated for it to actually do its thing, and that's that. So let's see, so I gotta put you down a little bit. There we go. Cool. I think that this is pretty set. I think that would be done. So I would mark that with the B and move along.